All right.
Yum, yum, yum.
All right. You ready, D?
I am.
In 3, 2, 1.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the third episode of the RawCutsGaming podcast.
Woo!
Get up, buddy.
Thanks, Mom.
Yes.
Ready. We ready.
I'm your host this week, Big D, also the Naked Gamer. Oh, Woods is passed out behind me, by the way. Woods the Mav. He's also live with us tonight. Also the Trophy Hunter, CJ.
Hey, guys.
We want to thank you in advance for tuning in to the rarest takes in everything gaming. And as always, we'll bring you our own unique takes on all things video games, all while recording and publishing our episodes edit-free, because that's the way you like it, and we're lazy. So, we'll be bringing you our podcast via all the regular podcast listening staples every Tuesday. So far, we're on Spotify, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Anchor. CJ, any updates on there?
So far, we're waiting to post to Apple. I don't know what the big delay is with Apple, but
they got Steve Jobs' dead corpse on it.
Oh,
yes, I have it marked as explicit. I don't know what would be the holdup. So
probably that comment that I just made.
Mike is fucking hot.
Oh boy. So Apple is one of them, and there's a couple other podcast services. But if you, the listeners out there, know of anything else you want us published to, we can certainly work to get it added elsewhere.
All right. And we're trying to get going on YouTube also. So we're, I think we posted last week. We ended up not taking it down, but we'll throw this one on also. This week we have what we've been playing. We have a couple of interesting tidbits on news. We got the Raw Rant. Today's episode is going to be people who buy the full price yearly releases from things like EA and how those people ruin absolutely everything. And the Trophy Hunter's going to be going over Mortal Kombat 11 tonight, and some of the cool things that he's done there. And we have a poll winner to announce for Woodsy. Going to pick a game off the pile of shame, and then hopefully, Mav, you got a new list ready to go.
Yeah, the new list. We'll have to discuss when that'll go up, because I really want to give. I want to give our winner its fair due, and I want to get through that. So I think maybe after we get through that one, then we'll start the new one, or after I've decided I can't take it anymore because I pissed my pants too many times.
Is there a limit on how long we can leave polls up?
It's 1 week.
Oh no, I said the poll is closed. The poll has been closed. I closed the poll. The winner has been decided.
Okay. Well, I meant you can't let it run a whole month. I didn't know.
Right.
That.
No, I think it's a week.
I'll have to check that out.
I dug into it. It's a week, and I think it's four options. So
someone get the guy that runs Twitter on the phone.
And this is how you know we're edit free.
Jack.
We're having these internal discussions right now.
Fine. It's fine.
Uncut.
You want to learn how to do a fucking podcast? Listen to us. We're trying to figure it out. All right. So, first up, what we've been playing. So, this week I've been very ADD. So, we all bought Rocket Arena for $5. I popped into that for 20 minutes. Ooh. And I played some Modern Warfare again this week. We hopped back into that for a minute. Rocket League, some Witcher 3. Let's see. Trying to think. No Man's Sky. I went through after the patch. It was finally able to make it through a derelict ship, which was it was pretty awesome. So there wasn't anything too challenging in my first ship. It was just a bunch of floaty jellyfish guys that didn't present any challenge whatsoever. So might have to go back through there and see what I can find. So, Mav, what have you been playing this week?
Man, I've been playing a whole lot, actually. So it wasn't our poll winner. However, I have more than dipped my toe into another game. It's kind of cool, like having the pile of shame, survey there. And I just decided it wasn't the winner, but until we announced the winner, I was going to try to start checking off one of the other games on there, and that has been South Park: Stick of Truth. And that game is good. The turn-based RPG genre in general has never really been my thing. I think the only couple of games I've ever played in my life that have been turn-based have been of the Final Fantasy series and Pokemon, the original carts for the Game Boy Color. But I really like this one. It's not the most challenging, which is fine. But it's South Park. And if you're a fan of South Park, which I am a very huge fan of South Park, it's so good. And I'm disappointed it took me this long to play it. But I'm going to definitely use it as a springboard to jump into the Fractured But Whole. But it's just fucking hilarious, man.
Yeah, I'll play that one side by side with you because I have that one too. I haven't played.
I'd highly recommend it. It's on the platinum pile for the
shit.
But Whole. But
nice.
It's a great game. You guys will like it.
So this one, for the viewer or listeners out there who haven't played it, some slight spoilers because it is what it is. That game's 6 years old now. So
I think okay.
Yeah. I just had the scene today where I was battling the underwear gnomes in a shrunken version of my parents' bedroom, where my dad, my character's dad, was going to Pound Town on my mom, and during the course of the boss battle, her titties were swinging in the background, and I had to actually dodge my dad's own ball sack during the course of this boss battle. So it's funny because not only is it South Park, but it's like the same level of South Park as Bigger, Longer, and Uncut the movie, where they just because it's clearly there's no television standards that they have to adhere to, so they just take everything to another level. So it's hilarious, and I'm thoroughly enjoying that. Been playing FIFA 20, still rocking my foot team. I have to say, I have a little short rant about the packs. Not super thrilled with the packs. All the packs that you win by doing these various things in your foot team, for whether it be season objectives or this, that, or the other thing, you just get dirt. You never get any good players, and it's just perpetually frustrating. And I've bought 3 packs myself and still haven't gotten diddly. So it seems to me that the only real good or real easy path to getting good players is through the transfer market, and getting any of the real top flight players, you have to have 100,000 plus coins, and that's just so damn much money. So I don't know how the other people do it. Maybe I got to watch some YouTube videos about that. But I've been playing those two a lot, and then I downloaded Modern Warfare 2, the remastered campaign, and went through all the way through the 3rd mission. So that includes No Russian, which is the highly controversial mission from Modern Warfare 2, where you are an American operative in, I guess, incognito with a bunch of Russian terrorists who then committed a terrorist act in a Moscow airport. In either case, I after playing that, I was excited to be oh, sweet, updated graphics, all that other stuff. It's going to look shiny and new, which it does for the most part, but damn. Hey, granted, I skipped a couple Call of Duties here and there, but the formula for those games is exactly the same. Insofar as the single player mode, and I know people got all up in arms a couple years ago when they didn't have one for one of the games, and to be frank, I don't even see the need for it because it's the exact same bullshit, just regurgitated all the time.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they've, their standard multiplayer is good. Their battle royale mode is good, and then their multiplayer, their co-op multiplayer modes are great. I could really take or leave the whole campaign. It's just even in the most recent Modern Warfare, it was just okay. It felt like every other Modern Warfare campaign I ever played, which now playing the remaster of Modern Warfare 2, yup. I don't know what else to say about that. So, but yeah, then I played some Rocket League as well. Just, standard BS, jumping in a few games. But yeah, that's what I've been really rocking this week.
Nice.
So how about you, Siege? How about you?
Well, I was on vacation last week, so I hadn't played as much as I would like to, but I have been trying to really crank it up the last couple nights. So, last episode I kind of mentioned I was dipping my toe into Concrete Genie. I ended up finishing that, platinumed it, platinum number 43. The game is
golf clap.
Golf clap. The game is what I wanted it to be, a pellet cleanser. Pellet cleanser.
There you go.
Pellet cleanser.
After I'm thinking that smoked meat you guys are showing. After Last of Us 2 and Neo 2, and it was. I mean, you run around, you're painting walls and stuff, and it deals with bullying and everything, and how you can kind of overcome that. But I think I really burnt myself out in the start of that game by going to every wall, painting everything I could, and just overpainting. And it was just like after a while, I'm just like, well, this is. I mean, they introduced new images and everything, but I just got bored with it after a while and kind of pushed my way through. I think probably going for the platinum hurted myself more so than anything with that game. You paint genies and then you can add stuff onto them, and you find pages to add new limbs and everything. And I, towards the end, I was just like quickly making the genie. They each have their own unique powers. There's like 4 different genies or something, and I just kind of pushed my way through. So I kind of burnt myself out in that game. So it was a golf clap game if anything. So, but I picked it up on the PSN sale. So
Did you like it though? Is that a game that I would say regret burning through because it ruined it?
No, I don't know if I'd say regret. It was a palate cleanser. It was fine. I just I played it, I platinumed it, and I'm going to move on. And that's kind of all I can say about that game. It just wasn't what I want to do right now. I mean, I came off of Neo 2 and Last of Us 2, these 2 huge releases this year, and I was ready for some.
You really like too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I platinumed that. I moved on to Tekken 7. I'm kind of your resident fighting fan here. Tekken 7 is different than most of the other fighting games in that it's a 3D fighter. Everything's kind of gone back to the 2D fighting era, and Tekken 7, you're kind of in that 3D realm. I'm liking it a lot so far. I don't know any of the characters. I didn't really play many of the Tekken games.
Tekkens, right?
Yeah, I just picked it up and it was on sale. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of combo heavy stuff. It's kind of, I'll get into it in the Mortal Kombat part of the section of the show, but I like Tekken 7. It's nice. I'm right now as we speak, I'm 2 trophies away from the platinum, so it's a very easy and attainable platinum. I think it's like 10 hours or something to obtain. So I'm just kind of plucking away on that. I
like that you like the 3D fighters just because like I think my favorite fighter of all time. Well, I guess it's a tie because there's the kind of the OG, but then the new one. But I love Virtual Fighter 2, but then the Virtual Fighter 4, both the Evo and then the original. But yeah, man, like I like 3D fighters. They're kind of cool. There's more of that dance that transpires during the course of the actual combat.
You have more escape options and everything, and right. it's cool. It's grappling, so you can kind of get behind people and do these combos and everything. And one thing I did want to touch on, I'm glad you kind of brought it back to this, is it's very in depth. You can go through these crazy tutorials and set up scenarios where you can place guys in different scenarios, whether they're laying down or standing, or you can put in button combos and you can have them mimic you and everything. So you can really, really get in the weeds with that game if you want to. And I picked it up for like $9 on the PSN sale, so it's well worth the price of admission for that game. So
sure,
I'd recommend it. I'm going to be platinum it here probably tonight or maybe tomorrow.
Oh wow!
I'll probably keep playing it just because it's fun. But I would definitely give that game a stamp of approval. Also, while on vacation, I did drag the Switch along. I was planning on playing some kart with my brothers at the cabin, but I didn't get a chance to do a whole lot of that. I did play a little bit of Cuphead on Switch. Last week, they announced it coming to the PS4, which I'm excited for trophies.
Right.
But I will. I don't know if I'm going to buy it in the PSN anytime soon. I'll wait till it drops in price. Cuphead is a lot of fun. It's got a very unique art style. It's very hard, as you might imagine, but it's just this really cool art style, the throwback for like a a cartoon from the 20s.
Right.
And it's just kind of a fun little platformer.
So did they announce? Because like I know during the most recent Xbox show, they announced DLC for Cuphead. Have they announced when and if that DLC will also be coming to the PlayStation?
They haven't even announced when it's coming to the Xbox yet. So it's this.
Okay.
I don't remember what the name of the DLC is, but it's just kind of the same thing with the game. It's just taking longer to make. It's all this hand drawn animations.
Right.
So they haven't even announced when it's
Which
coming
I
to
can't
Xbox
even
yet.
imagine how complicated that is. Like the game creation process. Like it's like making the original episodes of South Park, but times 100,
a million.
Yeah. It's crazy what they did to make that game, and it's a lot of fun. It's just interesting that I want to, they initially said this game is never coming to PlayStation, and 3 years later, all of a sudden it's here now. So kind of we'll get into what other Xbox exclusives might come to PlayStation. It came to Switch like whatever, a year and a half ago or so, and now it's on PlayStation. So it's just kind of interesting that it's porting over to other systems now. So, and then the last thing I've been want to touch on is NBA 2K20. It's the free game from July, so everyone should have it, I'd imagine. It's a heavily monetized game, as is all the most of 2K games. But what I did do is I found this Instagram account called NBA 2K20.lockercodes. And on there, it's an aggregate of all these free locker codes. So you can get free packs and free players and free pink diamonds and all that crazy stuff. So if you are into the My Team stuff, there's places you can go on the internet, like the Instagram account I just mentioned, and get free shit. So
is the pink diamond like the highest rating of any one like particular player's card?
I don't really get too into...
Because I don't know their ranking on their cards.
But... I don't get into the My Team stuff too much. I was just kind of doing my digital hoarding bit and just grabbing every little free locker code I could. But I think Pink Diamond is technically the second highest. They had this Opal, which is, I believe, their highest now. Pink Diamond, I've always heard thrown around. But
doing that uncut gems, the black Opal.
you can also get a free Kobe Bryant like Pink Diamond right now. So if you're into that, grab that. You got to get it before December 31st.
Kobe.
Yeah, exactly, your boy. So that I didn't do a whole lot of playing of NBA 2K20. I'm getting the itch now that basketball's back to get back in there. But I was just kind of doing some digital hoarding. So that's about it for me.
All right. Well, then we can jump into news. It was kind of a slow week, but one of the pieces I had was some Halo news coming back after, and we all touched on it, some blowback from the reveal last week. We also had a piece of news that they're going to have free-to-play multiplayer, but I found that to be kind of a cop-out because I feel like that's stemming from the Game Pass situation where that's going free for everybody. So, of course, the new Halo is going to be free-to-play multiplayer. But I think they're trying to get away with it.
But
let's start at the top here. So, he wants the first article we have here from comicbook.com. Halo Infinite developer, some guy, wants to honor series legacy. So what's that about? Define what the series legacy is there, I guess. What is it?
So that article was all based on the fans being pissed off that the graphics weren't great, which is one of the things I wanted to discuss with you guys. Like, it was a demo and whatever. Like, I don't get why people were so anal about what the graphics looked like. Of course, it's not done, especially with the final polishes and smoothing and all that other crap, which is probably last.
Yeah, but it's not done, but they're going to be printing those CDs in the next, 6 weeks.
Right.
So
they don't have much time to finish it up, but there'll be digital patches. There'll probably be a day one patch for it already.
Everything. Ubiquitous now.
But anyway, but basically, one of the lead devs was chirping back that that they're going to honor Halo. And one of the things I also wanted to talk about was if Halo as itself, between, let's call it 2 and 3, Halo 2 and 3, were so successful that there's no way that they could actually come out with another game in this thread that lives up to people's expectations.
Well, I don't know about that. I think that just the problem is the formula was basically, I mean, the story got weird, right? But aside from that, the formula of the gameplay kind of like was this nice evolution of stuff. And it didn't try to be anything it wasn't before, and it didn't try to go too radical with any of the actual gameplay changes. 4 did that. 5 did that. 6 seems to be, or Infinite, seems to be going backwards a little bit, which is good from a gameplay perspective, though they're adding in the grappling hook, which, I don't know.
Yeah, that seems gimmicky.
Right. But it doesn't seem as bad as, you know, if you're a Halo player and you just like kind of that arena style shooter where you start and everybody's basically at the same plane of existence, you know, there's no predetermined loadout or perks and all this other Call of Duty-esque RPG element to the shooter.
Right.
I think if that's what they mean by going back to the OG, the source, the legacy, whatever you want to call it, I think that's a positive for the franchise. And that's honestly, as much as I dog Halo because it hasn't evolved. But conversely, I understand that the 1, 2, and 3 and with ODST and Reach.
Yep.
Those are the Halos that everybody loved. Everything after that has been not so great. And
part of my complaints have been that they, like what you were getting at, they started trying to steal from other games, right? So they started to try and handle up the multiplayer by adding Call of Duty things in there, loadouts and all sorts of weird power-ups and jetpacks and all sorts of other shit that didn't really belong in there. Which brings me to a lot of what looks like they're pointing at is an open world concept, and that starts making me think that they're just going to try and clone Destiny off.
Yeah, exactly.
And as if that would be like the worst thing that they could possibly do, seeing as it's Bungie. And they should definitely, if they're going to copy anyone, maybe not that.
Right.
But I have this fear that that's what that's going to be.
And to be fair, especially Destiny 1, that game felt like just a reskinned Halo.
Oh, it was.
Because it was. And even down to like the enemy AI. Like, and I agree with you. And that was one of my first criticisms. I was like, so this is basically the same Halo that has existed for 25 years, but now Destiny-ish, and they think this is their path forward, I guess. But it's like Destiny's already now kind of for themselves, you know, pretty fine-tuned that formula.
Yeah, now that Bungie took that back over, I think they're trying to iron the story out and everything to what they wanted it to be in the first place before Activision opened up the covers and took a giant shit in there to see how much more money they could get out of it.
Is the Halo multiplayer, despite being free and 120 frames per second, so on and so forth, is it going to be a kind of a dumpster fire, or like real hollow or shallow because it is trying to be this Destiny copycat, and
instead of being Halo? Yeah.
I think that the multiplayer going free is actually pretty interesting, though. I mean, we haven't seen many other games go fully free to play for their multiplayer. You know, we've seen it. I mean, the closest thing I can think of is maybe like Fortnite with being free to play and then putting that Defend the World as their purchased, story mode. And I get what you're saying a little bit with, deal with it being on Game Pass and everyone pretty much having it. And then Xbox really just pushing this Game Pass narrative that they want to push. But putting the biggest part of the game of what everyone plays as free and breaking down these walls is pretty interesting. And then what makes me wonder about, with them kind of getting rid of this Xbox Live Gold subscriptions is multiplayer, as a whole going to be free on Xbox? And I think yes. I think
and that's kind of what I was inferring. So I probably didn't phrase it right. I said Game Pass. I did mean Xbox Live was going away, which I saw another Twitter about that this week.
So you two think, and now that you're saying it, I agree, but you guys think that, so like, that's always been one of the big, I guess, PC overlord rips on PlayStation and Xbox, right? Is like, you guys have to pay to play fucking multiplayer online games. Right. That's the dumbest shit ever.
They want you to play anywhere right now. So they don't want to have any more walls up. They want you to play on your phone, your computer, your Xbox.
They just want to get you in their ecosystem and Games Pass.
Why should you have to pay a premium if you want to play your game on the console? I think they're trying to get you to buy versus just you firing up your laptop.
Smart.
So then now what does PlayStation do with, their PlayStation Plus or whatever? Do they have to counter by making their games free? I'm guessing no. They're just going to probably stay and say, no, we're offering you a service, and we'll see how long that lasts. But I think making the actual game free is pretty interesting, the multiplayer section of it,
I did too. So then what do they charge for the single player experience?
That's a good question. That's what I'm wondering. Well, is 60 or are they going to charge 40 or are they, I don't know. They're saying they keep hammering this narrative of, the single player is going to be bigger than 2-3 games combined or whatever they were saying. And it's open world. Maybe they are going to try to shoot for $60 and just say, hey,
if it's like Destiny that everybody's kind of thinking it's going to be, is there any really true single player? Because it's just drop in, drop out PvE with other people.
I think there is going to be a single player because they're also hammering home this like couch co-op, stuff and everything. I'm curious to see what they're going to charge. I don't think they want people to buy the game. They want them to buy Game Pass. If that's as strange as that sounds, they want to get you hooked into that. They keep talking about
the subscription model, right? It's a subscription model.
It's their Office 365.
So I'd imagine if it's free to play and all that, would they just go down that route of the season pass?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, they got to monetize it somehow, So is there
going to be and all these skins and various this, that, and the other thing?
I think it'll be very similar to that Destiny model. You won't have the Xbox Live portion if you want to just play the vanilla multiplayer.
Right.
But as we all know,
you'll pay for the big expansions and
correct. That you're going to need to keep updating it to give them their money.
It'll be interesting to see which direction they go, either the Destiny model or the Fortnite model, I guess.
Yeah, VentureBeat reported, I knew I saw that this week, that multiplayer or Xbox Live Gold is going to go away, and you're just going to have Game Pass.
Right. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out in a couple of weeks with their rumored August showcase. So, but yeah, so obviously, though, as we're kind of talking about or alluded to last week, right? There's a lot of haterade thrown the direction of Microsoft about the graphics of that game, and I get what you're saying. It's a demo, this, that, and the other thing, and they're making it. They were gearing it for performance because obviously for a shooter, that's what people care about most. However, I don't know. I think a lot of that criticism personally was
probably warranted.
Was warranted. And, okay, it's not trying to be Modern Warfare, right? It's not trying to go for this realistic art style. It has its Halo-ish art style, but my criticism was like, okay, like there's like the meme of that one guy, that enemy guy who it looks just awful.
It does look
really bad.
And someone's like, this is just their art style, man. They're not trying to be hyper realistic. I'm like, So what the fuck is their art style then? 2005? Like come on.
Well, I think it gets down to two things. It's the art style and the fidelity. The art style, they came out and they said, "Hey, we're going after Halo 1 and Halo 2 art style." I get that. That's fine. And the fidelity is what's really getting hammered right now. And people are saying this game doesn't look great. I'm not a big fidelity guy. I still run my 1080 screen TV. I watched the stream on my phone. It looked fine to me, but I don't really care that it didn't look great. What I didn't like though was Aaron Greenberg came out, their marketing GM, and said, basically we're in the middle of a global pandemic. It's July and we're
such
far
a
from
bullshit
launch.
excuse.
It's a work in progress game, and we're running. And he also said something along the lines of like it wasn't on an Xbox Series X, it was on a PC with similar specs or something. And to come out and say that to me, like I didn't really care about the graphics looking like shit. I think that when you want to show your tentpole game,
Right.
you want it to be this high level, really polished piece of work. But to me, it doesn't really matter. But when your marketing GM comes out and says that, I'm like, it makes me pause for a second. Like, wait, why was this it's obviously a work in progress.
Especially
now
when
they're trying to
marketing
revive it.
shtick is
buy
the powerful console. We got the 85 quadrillion teraflops,
Right.
this, that, and the other thing. And then that's
we
what
talked
you
about this
show.
last week. Yeah.
That's what you show.
Yeah. Why am I buying a new console?
Right. And
we have yet to see anything that is truly taking advantage of the next gen hardware.
No, that game looked like a first generation Xbox 360 game. Like as they're making the transition from the OG Xbox to the 360, it did not look any better than your mid-generation Xbox 360 game. And it's like CJ was saying, it's one thing to have an art style, but when you got those zoom in pics and the shit looks pixelated as fuck and doesn't have high, texture packs associated with it, it's a bad look. It's a bad.
It's a bad look.
Feedback on Twitter was like, you guys have been working on this for what, 5 years now?
And $500 million investment into this game. A $500 million investment into the game. They literally allowed 343 to build a brand new engine, and this is the yield.
Well, and it's not their their fourth or fifth game they were showing just buried somewhere in there. It's the number one. Hey, this is us. We're Halo.
This is Xbox. Yeah.
To be fair, PlayStation started with Grand Theft Auto 5.
But I mean, how many games at that PlayStation conference came out and the graphics are completely panned?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, look at Gran Turismo 7, and they showed like a good few minutes of that game.
Ratchet and Clank, and I know they're completely different games and everything, but still, like they had the polished product.
Forza looked great, but it's just like I actually thought the best looking trailer from that whole conference was easily, not Left 4 Dead, but whatever that State of Decay 3.
State of Decay 3, yeah, that game looked awesome.
That looked. I mean, it had those like we were saying last week. It had those vibes of The Last of Us, but also those graphics were drippy. Ooh.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I just I think it's internet piling on is part of it, but when you zoom in, it does look like shit, and then you come out and have this horrible quote from your marketing GM, and it's like, well, you kind of fucked yourself there, guys.
Yeah. So remains to be seen. We talked about before. I was a giant Halo guy. My 360 was a Halo 3 or a Halo ODST skinned Xbox 360. I used to buy all that shit. So hope they work it out, but it's not looking good right now for their tentpole. So moving on.
Long way to holiday.
It is a long way till Thanksgiving.
Man, it's August already. I can't believe it though. That shit's gonna hit you before you know it.
That's true. Hopefully, coronavirus. Yeah. Nintendo. People were digging around in the code, and they posted a bunch of crap online that uncovered some creative process and drawings and kind of plans for future games that never really got announced. So my question for you guys is, what was your moral thought on the leak, quote unquote, and did you feel strongly that it wasn't right or is fine for stuff that's so fucking old and doesn't really uncover anything current?
So I think that larger conversation distills down into how I feel about emulation. And the bottom line is, especially if things are of a certain age, I'm all for emulation. Obviously, if I'd be like modding my PS4 right now so I could play all these other PS4 games free, there's a big ethical and moral problem with that. But I also think there's a big ethical and moral problem with Nintendo because they don't have their digital storefront, and they have never had the digital storefront operating at anywhere near like something like Steam. The fact that I've had to purchase, Super Mario Brothers 3 is always the one I come back to. I've purchased that game like 3 or 4 times across varying Nintendo platforms, and that's just not right either. So I think there's a middle ground there, personally.
As far as the leak goes, I skimmed over it. I didn't really dig into it too far. I feel bad for all the content creators out there who have their partially work out there, because I would hate to have someone go into my work files and dump all my shit out there for people to see.
Well, shit that's not done, right?
Yeah, exactly. So some of it looks like shit. I thought it was kind of interesting to see Luigi in Mario 64. I know there's some of the Donkey Kong stuff came out and what they're looking to do with that. So it didn't really interest me all that much. I feel like I said, I feel bad for the devs, but like you said, Woods, all these games and stuff are locked away in consoles you can't get a hold of anymore, and then they make you buy it again and again and again, and it sucks. So what do you think, D? What are your thoughts on the leak?
Hard to argue with where you guys stand. It's the guys that worked really hard on that. It sucks to have work that wasn't done kind of out in public because it wasn't meant to be out in public. So that part isn't great. But it's not like they were going through the newest Modern Warfare and figuring out the next 6 years worth of releases from it, where we actually are harming any of the developers. So don't know. It's because at a certain point you can't stop some of these people from going through that old code. It's just going to happen.
I do, and I say that I didn't like this whole leak thing, but I do kind of like some of this data mining stuff that happens sometimes with games. Like they dig into the code and they find out that at one point, there's a big threads about Mortal Kombat about which characters were going to be in the game, and intros and uncut takes.
But half that stuff isn't actually even true leaks. It's as much marketing as it is leaks, and it's presented as leaks so they get clicks.
Yeah, I find that stuff interesting though. So I don't want to completely come to crash down on these hackers and data miners about stuff. So
I mean, at the end of the day, whose fault is it? The white hat or the black hat? I don't know.
Someone was going to find it, which was kind of my point. Like at a certain point, you can't stop some of this stuff from happening.
It's a 20-year-old game too, So.
Right. Well, and that was kind of my point. Like it's not really harming anybody, but it seemed like it was getting made for a big deal. Because that's why I clicked on it. I'm like, oh shit, what they find? And it's like, oh man, someone was digging through like fucking Yoshi's World. I was like, it's like,
well, then that's the one thing you see that weird looking Yoshi floating around the image. That really pixelated image of him.
Yeah, when they were just starting to develop them.
Right.
So, all right. And then we have kind of a nicer story, but it was Children of Light, or Sky Children of Light. Short like
my nipples to this.
So this is a game, Children of Light. They raised over $1 million this year for Doctors Without Borders. And at an Earth Day event, they also raised enough money to plant 40,000 trees. And I was going to posture to you guys on why, with a shitty little game like this that I had never heard of, why we don't see stuff like this more from our big companies like EA that put out bullshit games every year that cost nothing to them. So like a Madden, where they're spending approximately $35 on updates every year, and they could use a bunch of money to donate to someone that needs it. Yeah. So
I have one answer for you: shareholders.
Yep, that's a problem. Might be a problem for another show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all part of the problem.
But good for the developers of Children of Light. Or is it Child of Light? I think it's Child of Light. I could be wrong.
I think it's Children of Light.
I'll look it up too, as I'm kind of interesting about this. But
let's get that right, because that is awesome that they did that.
That's
$1 million
great.
to the borders and planting the trees. That's awesome to see. That really is.
Hey man, positivity.
Children of the Light.
Okay. Cool.
So apparently it's a mobile game, but still,
good for them.
$1 million.
I mean, the more people who give money and more companies who give money for causes that are obviously needed, planting trees, never use more trees. So, I need more trees personally to always exist, because I'm a pellet smoker now. And if you follow us on Twitter, you may have seen some things about that this weekend.
Go check them out. They're some good smoked meat.
It was delicious. And I apologize for being drunk during that video, but don't worry about that.
No, you don't.
But no. It's always good. I mean, anything that's a positive story, people giving back, paying it forward, always good.
All right.
I'll be here for my trophy hunter.
Yeah.
DJ, I heard you've been big buck hunting. Give me that trophy.
All right. So the game I want to get into this week is Mortal Kombat 11. This is the Mortal Kombat game that came out most recently.
You're thinking we're raw, so I got to refill. You know what I'm saying, Doc?
All right. So, Mortal Kombat really was this kind of pioneer of the story mode in fighting games. Kind of started back with Mortal Kombat versus DC. Not a great game, awesome story mode. And the story mode in here is awesome. There's, trophies obviously tied to that, which I like a lot. None of them are missable, which I like even more. What I was a little surprised about was they recently dropped a big expansion, Aftermath, which added on more characters and a couple more hours of story, and there were no trophies tied to that. I was a little bit surprised by that. All their, Mortal Kombat X and Injustice and everything had these expansions with trophies, and there is nothing really added on there. So I was a little sad about that. But the story mode they added on was cool. It was, the way the story mode ended. I was a little surprised they're adding more story in there, but I think it fit in well, with the crazy, weird lore that happens in Mortal Kombat. So that was pretty cool to see. But now getting into the trophies in the game, this game has a 4 out of 10 platinum difficulty on PSN profiles with 1 playthrough needed. No missable trophies, like I mentioned before, which is awesome. It says that it takes about 90 hours to platinum. I did end up platinum the game. I do not remember spending 90 hours in there. A lot of hours, but
so that's a 4 out of 10 on that site is 90 hours. Jesus.
Well, the reason why it's 4 out of 10 is because it's 90 hours. The difficulty a lot of times there's no difficulty related trophies. It's just a grind. So some of the trophies I want to touch on a little bit is one of them was called Competitor, which makes you play 50 online matches. Now, you guys know me as the solo gamer. I don't really like playing online with people, so I kind of had to step out of my shell a little bit here. It doesn't matter if you win or lose those matches, but you just have to play 50 matches. So,
how much you win?
Probably about 23 or so.
That's pretty good, man.
You find the guys that you can just kind of play over and over, or gals you play over and over, and get a stack on some wins and stuff. And then the other 3 trophies I want to touch on are one called Victorious, one called Skull Kebab, and one called Master of Time. Now, all these 3 trophies kind of tie together. Skull Kebab, you need to impale someone's head on a spike in the crypt. Now, the crypt is this 3D adventure mode you can do on Shang Tsung's Island, which is cool because you run around Shang Tsung's Island. If you guys remember from Mortal Kombat 1, you're running around the island where the movie took place. So you're seeing a bunch of crazy shit in there. But what you need to do to spear this head is you need to get 25 fatalities on the same character, which is a pain in the ass.
Like with the same character or against
on the same character. So if I play as Scorpion, I got to find the same Sonya Blade to fatality 25 times. And initially when the game came out, it was 50 and they dialed it back to 25 because it was a little excessive. So the way
how does that work? Is it like random enemy generation as you're rolling around, like sort of like Pokemon?
No, there's no enemies in there. Well, there's a couple of little like enemies here and there, but it's basically just you just walk around, you unlock chests where you get gear for your characters. Okay. So, but the as far as the fatalitying people, that takes place in the towers or in versus battles and things like that. So, the way you get this trophy is you do these tower battles, and that kind of ties into the Master of Time. You have to complete 250 towers, and that's where this 90 hours of playthrough comes. So towers, if you guys remember from back in the day, is you fight a ladder of characters.
Right.
But what you got to do is basically, if you pick the endless tower where there's no end in sight, you can fight a match, quit it, come back in, fight it, quit it, come back in. Anytime you quit the endless tower, it counts as a tower victory. So that's how you keep fighting the same first character on that rung of the tower and fight them 25 times, run to Shang Tsung's Island, stab the skull down there. Now, Skull Kebab, or Victorious, you have to get 5 character poses. The way you get character poses, you get 5 Skull Kebabs. So that how it all kind of ties together. So it's just this endless loop of you playing Master of Time of these towers for you to get the skulls needed to get the victory poses you need. So those how those 3 trophies all tie together. But it was a pain in the ass. And now that I'm kind of thinking about it, maybe it was about 90 hours. And the last trophy I'll touch on here is called the Fatality Trophy.
That's something that PlayStation could actually improve on, is like show, because like we all get that like end of the year thing that like gives you your breakdown, right? But wouldn't it be cool to look at those metrics whenever the hell you wanted? Like how much time you...
That's my number 2 want for the next generation of systems is to revamp this trophy system and show you your progression. Xbox does this right now with Gamerscore, and if I have completed 127 towers, it would tell me I've completed 127 of 250. With PlayStation, you just got to kind of keep it in mind. So there's a bunch of these crazy trophies I'll get to over time here that where I'm just grinding unknown. I try to take notes. I print off sheets. I take notes as I go. But sometimes like at that one, it's so many. It's just kind of like, I think I've done 100. I think I've done 200. I know by how many skulls I've
got
impaled.
Close.
Right. And I know that I've played through each character's little ladder mode. But it's just a pain in the ass. And I wish PlayStation would improve on that. So, so Mortal Kombat 11, I never thought I'd get a Mortal Kombat Platinum just because I hate playing the online mode. A lot of these trophies can get tied into you having victories or ranked and all this crazy shit. This one
flawless
is just flawless victories and everything in online mode. This one, it was simply just play 50 matches and then grind your ass off, which I didn't mind doing because I love Mortal Kombat. So I thoroughly enjoyed getting that Platinum. I was very proud of that one. So, yeah.
Woo! Awesome, man. Awesome.
All right, Woodsy, what is the winner of your pile of shame vote?
Move your camera down. It's progressively gotten higher this whole time. It's basically at your nose now.
Yes,
there
get
it
up
is.
in there.
That's much better. That's
Resident Evil 8, 7.
7.
Resident Evil 7. So, oh boy.
You cholos. I'm just kidding. Thank you for everybody who voted.
Your friends.
Mostly. Who want to see me punished. And rightfully so. I deserve to be punished. So yeah, I have to play Resident Evil 7 in VR. So I think maybe I'll start live twitching that tomorrow night. We'll see. If you want to tune in and want to comment or call me a big wussy or donate some depends to me, DM me over Twitter. I'll send you my address. You can ship me some.
Or RawCutsGaming.
Yeah, RawCutsGaming. Ship. I'm gonna need those depends.
The PO box, which is gonna be your house.
So yeah, no, I'm excited to play it, but I'm also very scared about playing it. So I think it's good. It's a good thing that I have simultaneously started another game off that pile of shame vote, which was South Park. So like once I become too terrorized to play Resident Evil anymore, I'll just switch back and there'll be some fart jokes and stuff. And
right, relax a little bit.
Yeah, no, and I just like I'm that person who like. For those who don't know me, I am, I would say, agnostic at best. But for whatever reason, I've always had this like belief in the supernatural, so insofar as like ghosts and I guess aliens aren't supernatural, but other sorts weird demonic possession stuff.
Yeah, creepy.
Yeah, that and it's like scary movies. As far as scary movies are concerned, like it's never been like the hacker slasher movies that have ever really weirded me out. It's always like
the weird
alien stuff or demonic possession and stuff that really kind of gets to me personally. And yeah, so
what was that recent series that did the recording, the video recording, and then a bunch of ghosts and shit you couldn't see who was moving stuff in the house? Do you remember what series that was?
Paranormal Activity.
There you go, that one.
Series.
Yeah, because I'm in your same boat with you. That first one, I didn't sleep very well after I saw that one.
I didn't sleep very well for the first one, the second one, or the third one. And I just I torture myself and I watch those things and then I can't sleep for like 3 nights in a row. And it's
like we go to Freddy versus Jason or whatever, and like I'm sitting there laughing through half the movie.
Those are almost comedies at this point.
Everyone's covering their eyes.
Yeah,
he's beating her with in the sleeping bag against the tree.
Right.
Knife.
Yeah, like Freddy Krueger's pulling out her titty implant and stuffing it in down her throat so she can't breathe anymore.
Sounds like something from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, more or less. Sonya Blade's booby implants. Not so great.
What did you buy with the summer sale this week?
Oh, you want to know what I bought? Yeah.
Yes.
The pile of shame, man. You got to tell us every time you buy stuff.
I've grown my pile of shame as the question has insinuated that I have done. But just for accuracy's sake, let me go to my purchase email. Let's see here. Pulling it up on my phone.
While he's pulling that up, D, you in for some Resident Evil 7?
I can be. I've got the VR.
I am in. I don't have the VR, but I did buy it on one of the random sales, so I'm in for the non-VR mode. But I'll play first person, which I notoriously hate playing. So that'll be my punishment.
So I bought a few games. So I bought the deluxe edition upgrade for Arizona Sunshine, which is a great PSVR shooter that works with the light gun for the PSVR. So that's a lot of fun. I've actually had, for some reason, I accidentally bought way back in the day just the season pass thing or whatever it was for Middle of Earth Shadow of War. So I bought the base game so I could actually take advantage of that. I bought Rocket Arena as well. All this right, yeah, because I forget what I buy and then I'll buy it twice or this and the other thing.
Coming soon to a poll near you.
Coming soon to a poll near you. Right, that's right. Rocket Arena, which I bought, I just downloaded, so I'm excited to give that a go. So I have to admit, is I wasn't so excited about it during this course of this generation because I wanted a real, true numbered version of the game. But it looks like for the PlayStation 5, I'm going to get that. So I, in kind of in my hype preparation for the new Gran Turismo, I for whatever reason purchased the Gran Turismo Spec 2 pack, which for GT Sport. So I got GT Sport now.
Why? Why would you do that?
Yes.
Because I'm
just
just excited
terrible
for
that game
GT7.
is.
I'm excited
Yeah.
for GT7, and I just want to start playing GT.
That game, yeah, that game will make you more excited for GT7 because you'll be like, "What is this bullshit? I can't mod my car. It's a bunch of horse shit."
Yeah, you're probably not wrong there. And then the final game I purchased, which is the game I'm most excited to play out of all of this bunch, which is one of my favorite games I ever played on PC back in the day, and it's still a great game, is Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. So I'm stoked for that one as well. I played that one a number of times, but I never actually got in the online multiplayer. And I'm kind of curious to see what the online multiplayer community or population even is right now on PlayStation. I hope it exists because it'd be fun to get into, but I guess we'll see. So, yeah, some of those games I'm sure will be coming to a pile of shame pole near you, as Jake so eloquently put it.
That's why I want to work with you, man. We gotta get that shit into an Excel sheet, and we gotta let people just comb through that bastard.
Right, and then hate on me because I spend too much.
You haven't played that shit.
Yeah,
no, exactly. Don't put how much you spent on
it. Right, I buy everything on sale. Everything's on sale.
Yeah, of course it's on sale.
It's on sale.
Yeah, otherwise the wife can track that shit down. We don't need that. Everything was $1.
Right, everything was just tree fitting.
I wouldn't buy anything if it was under $5.
Yeah, all the South Park games are definitely tree fitting. But no, seriously, yeah. Anybody who wants to join us, I'll put out a tweet. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a chance to play tomorrow or Wednesday, but starting this week, I will be live streaming my experience with Resident Evil 7 in VR. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I'm gonna not drink anything either of those days, so I don't have to pee my pants.
All right.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
Be careful what you eat.
Yeah,
shit your
pants. You might not eat any Mexican that day.
Right. Yeah. But Taco Bell out.
Do not drink it. Don't
Taco Bell coffee. Nope, not gonna happen. Neither.
Who's gonna live shit his pants?
Zombies jumping out of closets. Ah!
All right, D. Let's hear what's the raw rant of the week. You already alluded to it, but let's get into it.
Man. Okay.
Wow, what a lead in. That's a big sigh. I like it.
Here we go. Buckle in, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. So this is people who buy full price year-over-year releases and how they ruin everything. Everything about everything. So
wow.
let's start with Madden. That game has been a piece of shit for at least 7 years. At least 7. Like the last time I had fun on a new something or other on Madden was probably like Madden 12. Like that game has been reskinned to high heaven, and they spend a grand total of 4 hours every year updating that bastard, or just pulling something out and putting it in a pile so that they can bring it back next year. It's some horse shit. They should have decoupled Ultimate Mode from that thing years ago and made that its own revenue stream similar to Fortnite, so that shit's free to play and you just do your loot box bullshit with your game packs, and then you have the online player mode with that, and it's its own thing. And then the Madden mode could have also went that way with a season pass or something where you pay $20 and update the game, where you don't have to go through this farce that this is a new game, because it's not. And the people who buy it year over at full price are enabling this decision, and it really makes me angry because we should have been voting with these dollars to make them do something else. And it goes with the Call of Duties and all that other stuff too. They're just reskins, and it gets really fucking annoying that people still go out and spend $70 right when they drop, when you know damn well at this point that they're just reskins. There's nothing exciting about it.
So let me ask you this, and though I agree with your rant in large part, Call of Duty though is a completely separate situation from Madden because of licensing issues, right?
Yes.
Madden's the only sim football game in town because of legalese, whereas Call of Duty, though they've tried to rewrite the formula a number of times with going through Advanced Warfighter and all their futuristic BS, and then coming back to Modern Warfare, and even going back to World War II, right? So they've at least shaken up the formula, but I couldn't agree with you more about Madden and this bullshit. The last Madden game I honestly played even thoroughly was 2005, and in that same year I was just like, no, this game sucks compared to 2K5. I ain't having it.
Right. Yeah, and I always tested Madden when I would play a newer game, 15 or 17 or whichever one I have too, and you're running out and you're watching the wide receiver, or you're watching the linebacker, and actually it's a post. It's an outside post. And you'd watch the linebacker, and he'd have his back turned, and he'd be running with the wide receiver. And so you'd tap it to lob to the outside corner, and that linebacker will jump without looking at you, midair, and one-handed intercept the damn thing. And that's right. Happened to me in almost every damn version of that game, and it drives me bananas because when I see the linebacker not looking at me, I go, I got that fucker. And that's usually when I just rage quit on Madden. I'm like, that's it. The shit's been in this game for at least 10 years now.
But it's not even just gameplay things that are just ridiculous. They are. But for me, especially when you have these generational transitions like we're about to have again, they build up all these features throughout the course of a console generation. Then fucking strip that shit down and then build all those exact same features back up and call it new. And that, to me, is the biggest load of malarkey that there is.
Hang on. So you think the next generation Madden is going to be a stripped-down version of it?
When hasn't the generational transition version of Madden not been a stripped-down version?
I guess we'll find out.
This year, right?
I don't think they're going to strip anything back. I think they're going to just kind of keep progressing with this, backwards compatibility and all that shit. But what I think that the more interesting test case is what you guys are saying is because to me it doesn't bother me much. I don't care what people spend their money on. If they want to buy the Madden every year, then so be it. What I think is interesting is because you touched on Madden D, you touched on Call of Duty, but look what happened in Hoops. They had 2K. Which we touched on a little bit earlier, but that's monetized as shit, but a very well-received game every year annualized. But they also had NBA 2K Live, which is EA's version. NBA Live. Yeah, sorry, NBA Live. NBA Live, which is EA's version of it. And look what happened to there. 2K ate their lunch, and now they pulled their game. And
not just once, but twice.
And the first time was more interesting because that game was done and ready to ship. The copies were printed, and they pulled that game. But that shows you when you have competition and why EA worked so hard to get this NFL license. There is no competition, so they can shit out whatever version of Madden they want. So I think it's interesting.
Which is a shame, and that's a fantastic point because at least even though 2K was the dominant consumer choice because of the product itself was very quality, at least EA still could put skin in the game.
Yeah.
Right. The inverse is not even true for football games, simulation football games, at least for 2K and EA, because EA's got that shit on legal lockdown, and it's
He
bullshit.
just extended it too.
Yep.
And I was wondering if this model that we've uncovered now with the free-to-play multiplayer games would apply to this model much better, because instead of pretending like they're going to dump a bunch of development dollars in here, because I guarantee you at EA there's some sort of ridiculous budget for these games every year that's obviously wasted. So why wouldn't you do some sort of season pass model where you get roster updates and all that, and just not really focus on gameplay and except for incremental updates, because you don't really need to spend that much updating the game, because if you are, you're not doing a very good job anyway.
Well, I mean, it gets to your point of having this ultimate team and everything, where every year right now they can wipe this slate clean. I can't bring my Kobe Pink Diamond to NBA 2K21, but they can make you wipe it clean and make you buy all their shit again. If they had its own game where they would release new cards, you could still carry your cards forward and shit. They found this winning formula where they can literally wipe your shit clean every year and make you buy more packs of cards.
So, but this is an interesting concept. This is
like Destiny gets over that though. So every season, right? So once a year, that shit that you went through with the raids and everything is now useless, right? And you could very easily do that with the card packs, right? Like, we have a new season now, so now you're buying the 2020 packs. So now all your 2019 and previous packs, you still have them. You can still play with them. But guess what? They're not the same level they were before, right? So now we have these new packs coming out for 2020, and they're more dope than everything else before, right?
What they could do with that is just stop adding contracts to the market for those older cards, and that would...
Yeah, I learned about the contract thing recently. That was...
But so what I was trying to say before though is, you know, we're dogging EA, you know, in part because this is a licensing issue and their own laziness. We've talked about 2K, but you know, and this is the thing, is like 2K has done such a good job with the NBA license, right? And MLB The Show is the only baseball simulation game in town. And that game, I'm not a big baseball fan, nor a big baseball video game fan. But that game, I've heard nothing but glorious things about.
Yeah, I had, I think I had 18.
What the fuck
it's really
is
good.
EA's problem? Like,
Money.
This is a them problem. This is not even necessarily a licensing problem. They're choosing at a certain level to fuck up.
Well, you had a good one-word answer before, and I think it goes to the type of employees you have and the type of ownership and structure you have at those places. And I would guarantee you, EA is probably very similar to Activision.
Right.
Your number one goal is making money for your shareholders, and everything is looked at through that lens first, and then we worry about how to make a good game on the back end of that.
Right.
I think
instead of doing it the other way.
I mean, it kind of gets to your point, though, Dia. The problem is that these games are the best-selling games every year. NBA 2K, FIFA, Madden, Call of Duty, right? Yep. So if they have this winning formula, there's no incentive for them to stop.
Correct. Yes, I'm postulating on what I'd like to see it become, because it's more of the have your cake and eat it too.
Yep.
Type thing, where they're still raking in shit tons of money. Obviously, they don't need to change right now because lots of people just go and give them their money, and like you said, they can do what they want. But if everyone grouped together and went, no EA, Madden hasn't been good in 5 years, I'm not buying it this year.
Right,
they would collectively shit a brick.
And that's exactly what happened with NFL 2K5, right? And it's the lack of competition that EA apparently exclusively EA needs to rely on for the popularity of their product, because MLB The Show sells and it has no competition, and it's still a good product. NBA 2K, despite its microtransactionary bullshit, still a really good product because the competition that was there is no longer there because it got curb stomped again.
But
So
I know, so we don't really play a lot of those games year over year over year. So my question then would be, NBA and MLB. So I know CJ's probably had a few iterations of NBA 2K. Is that worth the $70 every year to year, or with this model we're talking about, do you feel it could just be addressed with a small update that would be a part of the season pass?
It for sure could, but they're making too much money for them to want to go that route. I would love to spend $10 and get the roster update and get Jordan Love to the Packers and whatnot this year, and whoever the Bucks bring in next year in 2K. But I don't foresee them going that route. They sell way too much and make way too much. I would love to get a season pass and get roster updates and play a similar game.
I hear what you're saying too, right? So I totally agree that there's no incentive for them to do it. I just feel, and again, thinking of back-end costs on that, if it was just an online game all the time with these minor updates, they should be saving money inside as well as recouping most of that money through a subscription model. And then
what I'm curious about is,
but like you said,
there's no incentive for them to do it. Right?
It comes down to a simple cost-benefit analysis. And clearly that analysis has shown that for them, the yearly bullshit release is popular enough where it in no way incentivizes them as a company to transition to the season pass model or anything similar to that, because it's just numbers on a spreadsheet. And like we already discussed, the bottom line is the shareholders.
Yep. And so thank you for confirming that this is entirely the fault of the people who go out and spend $70 on this bullshit every
Motherfuckers!
year. Please stop.
I love you.
And then maybe we'll get some much better,
footballs.
Footballs.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Mama said football was the devil.
Feel better.
Rant over. I like it.
Rant over. End rant. All right. Next week, CJ, what's up for trophies?
I have not made the decision yet, so you guys can tune in next week to find out what's coming at trophy time. But I'm sure some will strike my fancy in the next couple of days here. So tune in next week to find out. For me,
same here.
What do you have for the Raw rant?
Someone chirp at me on Twitter and tell me something to get pissed off about. I'm open to suggestions.
I will do the suggestion that we discussed in the podcast, and I'll go through my pile of shame again. I may not be able to get some giant spreadsheet out and share it with the world before the next couple of days here, but I will pick a new set of games from the pile of shame, and I will leave a longer poll up there so that it can be vetted by the public and voted on. And then 2-3 weeks from now, we'll determine how far I am in Resident Evil 7, and if that has been entertaining for the people, or if it's just pathetic because I'm crying the whole time. We'll see. We'll see.
We're all excited to see you cry into your head.
Yeah, I love watching Woods cry. It's my fucking favorite. So that concludes our third episode of the Raw Cuts Gaming Podcast. Thanks to you, the listener, Mom, for putting up with our bad jokes and our juicy, rare, and uncut takes on all things video games.
Thanks, Ma.
Yeah, thanks, Mom.
Love Mom.
Love you, Mom. We hope you'll join us each and every week for more Raw Cuts. If you'd like to be part of the conversation or just tell us how much you hate us.
Hate.
We definitely encourage you to reach to us on Twitter at RawCutsGaming. If you'd like to see this pod recording on YouTube, check out the RawCutsGaming channel on YouTube. If you don't like that shit and want to find us on email for whatever fucking reason, email us at rawcutsgaming@gmail.com. I'm your host, Big D, the Naked Gamer. You can find me at NakedGamer84 on the Twitters and at noob with the zeros _Naked Gamer on the Twitches. Woodsy.
Y'all can find me at Woods _or Wads WODZ on Twitter. And CJ, I know where your mama dish is at, but where is you?
You can find me on Twitter at CJ Reindl. We all also, we all monitor the RawCutsGaming podcast Twitter handle also. So hit us up on there, any one of those you want, and we'll get back to you.
And keep out looking, because Raw Cuts, we're about our games, but we're also about our grilling and our barbecuing. So
That's
keep
true.
a lookout for more of those hot meat videos and pictures,
Pellet grill
tweets.
smoker for the win.
Get it done.
Yes. Delicious pork.
Hot fucking sausage links coming to you all week. Thanks, everybody.
Pee-pee. All right, that was good.
All right,
edit out
fellas.
that PV thing because I meant to say peace.
No, leave it in.
Unedited.
All right, cool. I'm gonna play some video games. Anybody?
I am too.
I'm
All
also
right.
trying to.
video games.
All right,
I got to get into platinum. I told you, Joel, was that?
All right, so D, can you get this edited with the intro and post it by tomorrow?
Yes.
All
so
right.
I need you to put it in the chat.
Yep, I'm gonna hang it up right now.
I mean, throw it in that finished pods when you're done. I'll post it to Anchor and get it out to everyone.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be on PlayStation as soon as I see it and start it downloading.
All right,
You're a
sounds
sexy
good.
beast. I love you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.